Welcome to our video comparing ser and estar. In this lesson, we will review the conjugations of the verb ser and the verb estar in the present tense, compare and contrast the uses of ser and estar, talk about which uses of ser and estar we are going to focus on this year in Spanish 1, and which uses you will focus on in Spanish 2. We will see some example sentences using the verbs ser and estar correctly, and then we will have a chance to decide for ourselves whether each given sentence should use ser or estar. Let's get started. Both ser and estar mean to be. Let's take a look at the conjugations of the verbs first before we get into taking a look at how and when we use each one. We're going to start with the verb ser, to be. If I'm talking about myself, yo soy. If I'm talking about you, tú eres, usted es. If I'm talking about he, él es, she, ella es, they singular, ella es. And then I have nosotros somos, vosotros sois, ustedes son, ellos son, ellas son, and ellas son. Those are our conjugations of the verb ser. Now let's take a quick look at estar. Yo estoy, tú estás, usted está, él está, ella está, ella está, nosotros estamos, vosotros estáis, ustedes están, ellos están, ellas están, and ellas están. Notice how all of these forms have an accent, which is very important in this verb. When you are writing out your forms of this verb, especially your tú, vosotros, usted, and ustedes forms, make sure you always have your accents, otherwise they could be confused for other words in Spanish. All right, now that we have reviewed the conjugations of ser and estar, let's take a look at when we're going to use each verb. For the verb ser, we're going to use the acronym doctor. So, descriptions of things, occupations, what people do for work, characteristics, either physical or characteristics of people's personality, telling time, describing someone's origin or where they're from, as well as their relationships to other people. The verb estar is going to be more temporary, so things like an object's position in relation to something else, where you are located, an action, the condition of an item or a person, and the emotions that we demonstrate. So these are all of the uses of ser and estar. Let's take a look at the ones that we will focus on this year in Spanish 1. Before we take a look at which ones we are going to be using this year, let's take a look at a few examples. So for example, of a description, I could say, es imposible, it's impossible. Occupation or someone's job, ella es profesora, she is a teacher. Characteristics of people, nosotros somos inteligentes, we are intelligent. When I'm going to tell time, son las 2 de la tarde, it is 2 p.m. Origin or where someone is from, María es de España, Maria is from Spain. And relationships, tú y yo somos primos, you and I are cousins. Let's take a look at some examples with estar. For the position, el libro está en la mesa, the book is on the table. Location, vosotros estáis en la escuela, y'all are at school. Action, ustedes están hablando, you guys are talking right now. Condition, la computadora está rota, the computer is broken. An emotion, el bebé está triste hoy. Now that we've seen a few examples, let's see which ones we will be focusing on this year. We will be focusing on description, characteristics, and relationships this year for the verb ser. So things like es imposible, nosotros somos inteligentes, tú y yo somos primos. And with estar, we will be focusing on the location and emotion. For example, vosotros estáis en la escuela, and el bebé está triste hoy. To help you remember the difference between ser and estar, please use this little rhyme that will help you in your remembering. For how you feel and where you are, always use the verb estar. If it does not fit into that rhyme, there's a good chance you're going to be using ser. Now we're going to take a look at a couple of example sentences where it's time for you to decide, what should I use, ser or estar? The first sentence, las chicas, something, contentas. Should I use ser or should I use estar? If you said estar, you are correct. Las chicas están contentas. I'm going to use están here because it describes an emotion. The girls are content. My next sentence, tú, something, simpática. Should I use ser or should I use estar? If you said ser, you are correct. Tú eres simpática. You are kind. This one is describing a characteristic of somebody, the fact that they are kind. Next sentence. Yo, something, en la escuela. Should I use ser or should I use estar? You would be correct if you said estar. Yo estoy en la escuela. This sentence is describing where you are located, in this case, at school. El something, mi amigo. Should I use ser or should I use estar? If you said ser, you are correct here. Él es mi amigo. He is my friend. This sentence is describing the relationship between you and your friend. And the last sentence. La clase, something interesante. Should I use ser or should I use estar? If you said ser, you are correct. La clase es interesante. This sentence is a description of the class. The class is interesting. How did we do on these sentences? If you had some trouble with some, you can go back and watch previous portions of the video to refresh your memory. And that was ser versus estar. Remember that both of these words mean to be in English, and they have different ways that we use them. If you have questions, please feel free to let me know. Hasta luego!